Hello and welcome to Dover. My name is Justin. I'm the owner of Team 53 and I partnered with Coach Dave Academy and Impel Motorsports to bring you this week's Learn to Drive video for ARCA at Dover as part of iRacing's 2025 Season 2 Week 2 official series action. If you guys can, make sure you hit like and subscribe. You did a great job with the ARCA videos last week, subscribing, getting new viewers out, which I really appreciate. I'm just a small town racer here in Wisconsin. I race late models. My daughter Sydney's 12. She wants to race go-karts this summer. So anything that we can do to help that you can do to help is greatly appreciated. Each view, each subscription does a lot, especially when we're talking to sponsors, to kind of give them a broader view of what our reach is. So we really do appreciate that. Um, just kind of a little bit about my background. I'm a 7500 I rating. I've been on iRacing for about 12 years. I built a bunch of my I rating up running ARCA, a little bit of ARCA farming, but a lot of C-Fix trucks. And then I went from like 5400 to 7500 running short track. So um, I know the NASCAR world. Getting back into it, so we're gonna kind of get into it together. But I guarantee that if you run these laps and you run these tracks how I'm running them, you will see success. We ran last week. I saw somebody in the comments left one for the ARCA at Charlotte video that said that he went 19th to 5th in a race using my kind of what I kind of talk about in these videos. So it can definitely help you, and I'm judging based off of the number of subscriptions and the number of video views that it's helped a number of you. So hopefully it continues to happen. As we head out here for qualifying, some things to think about, right? It's Dover, so there's a lot of banking, and it feels like you can carry a ton of speed in. I kind of have always likened Dover to like a big Bristol almost. And if you kind of attack Dover with that same thought process, I feel like you're going to be really successful here. So let's head out on track. We're going to tire heat coming off the pits, so it's a gas brake swerve. This is something we do in short tracks all the time. It's something you guys should be doing here in ARCA at a track like Dover. It just helps get heat in the tires, and from my qualifying to race trim, I think I was about a tenth to a tenth and a half faster tire heating. So this is all you're going to do until you get to the blue cone, and then you're going to get up through the gears. We're going to make lap 2 be our fast lap, so we're not really going to worry about lap 1 that much. But while we're waiting on lap 1, if you guys are new to iRacing, maybe you're playing on a controller, maybe you're on like a G920 or something, and you're looking to upgrade, Impel Motorsports has a ton of Moza products, anything from an R3 bundle all the way up to an R21. They should have some sim rigs here soon, so head over to impelmotorsports.com. They've also got real race car parts, anything from go-karts up to super late models. So as we go here to get our what would be our white flag, you saw I went high into the corner, and then I'm just full throttle trying to get as much speed built up on this straightaway as I can. We get to the start finish line and we're at 169 miles an hour. And a big thing to look at, whether you're on triple screens like I am or if you're on a single monitor, is how close to the wall you are. So we can see, looking at this, kind of a key indicator. You've got kind of the where the cold air box is here for the hood. It kind of bumps up. You can see where I have that bend, or the where it bumps up. It pretty much goes in line with this crack down the front stretch. And that's a good way to know if you're up high enough on the track, right? A lot of times I'll see guys and they're a half a car, a full car off the track. So by the time you get to turn 1, to make that turn radius, you're basically taking it from turning around a quarter to turning around a dime. And that's something that, you just can't carry as much speed when you're cutting the track. So really work on using a road course term as track limits. Really work at using as much of the track limits as you can. So we go down this front stretch. We're going to go back out of the in-car view. And you can see my wheel here. One of the things, let's go into the garage, that I did was I went to a 10-to-1 steering ratio, which I think is stock, but I turned the steering offset from a plus 10 to a plus 4. Plus 4 is more what I'm used to on the short track side. That's what we use, so it works out best for me. All steering ratio is, and we say it in the last video, 10 degrees of steering wheel turn for every 1 degree of tire turn. The plus 4, all I did was I took basically my white line on my wheel, or whatever color it is, but I took center of my wheel and I moved it over to 1 o'clock. iRacing has it at like 2:30. So we just moved it back closer to center. It's just more comfortable for me. Steering offset is just all about driver comfort. It literally means nothing. It will not make you faster. It will not make you slower. Brake bias, I left at 65. I have a feeling what I would be doing is going into my options, going into controls, and setting this brake bias set so that that way I can adjust that during the race. So as the race goes on and my nose feels tighter and my car is pushing more towards the wall, what I'm going to do is decrease that number so that that way it makes the car a lot more free. It'll loosen the car up on entry and it'll make it easier to drive. So super critical that you guys do that. So let's get back here into the qualifying. So we're going down the front stretch. We're going to start to turn in about the time that we're going to get, I think up here right around this Pepsi sign. Yeah, just a little before the Pepsi sign, you can see I'm turned in off the wall. And then we're going to go into turn one. Right around pit exit is where we're going to lift. We're going to grab some brake. And what we're doing with the brake is not so much slowing the car down, but we're transferring weight, right? If you've ever tried in your street car to go around a corner and you don't, hit your brake, you just lift and you get like all of that motion and it just kind of throws you in your seat. That's basically what you're doing. When you go into the corner and you're just lifting, right? Your car is still freeform floating and it doesn't have that nose set. So all of your weight is just transferring right over to the right side. But when you get on that brake, what you're going to do is it's going to move that weight forward. And a lot of times if you do it with your steering wheel turn, you're going to be able to kind of lock up the left front and turn the car into what's called yaw. So the rear end will kind of kick out a little bit and you'll be able to use the side force of the wind to really help turn this car. And that's what we're going to do here. So that's all we're trying to do. You can kind of see as we go into this corner, the car doesn't really, it's a little off skew, not terribly, but just enough. So we're going to float it in. We're going to go down to the bottom. I kind of just parked my right side tires right on this crack here. When we're in the car, it's going to be hard for you guys to see, but it's kind of halfway over the hood here. You can see kind of my left side. This line is kind of lined up with the apron, so to speak. So just kind of get some barriers there for you. I run the bottom end over. For me, it was about a half a tenth faster to run the bottom than what it was the top here in 1 and 2. And I tried both, and it was just faster here along the bottom. So we'll pick up throttle here because we don't really care what we're doing to these tires. We're going to pick up throttle super early. We're going to keep wheeling, and you see how it kind of diamond the corner a little bit. We went up in the center. We go in, kind of up in the center, and then we arc it with like a cut down here off. And if you can get those left sides in that little black stuff down there around the apron, it's going to do a ton to help rotate your car. We'll drive up off, catch the wall super close. We're up tight here up against the wall. And then we're going to turn down in, drag a little bit of brake, and I'm running bottom here in 3 and 4. So we're just going to kind of straddle this crack here in the middle of the corner. You can see we're back on throttle super early about the time this grass pops back up. And we're just going to straddle that around, and then we're going to drive right off. And we're going to get ourselves a nice little 22.547. So let's go back. I'm going to give you guys cockpit view of this car really quick, just so you can see what we've got going on here. So enjoy. And there's our 547. So now what we're going to do is let's look at a race trim, right? So I went out and I did a race trim and I just ran as fast as I could. And we use this method at Charlotte and it works really, really well. So go out, run about 10 laps as fast as you can. So I see a 669. So I'm going to back my race pace down. I don't want my race pace to be any faster early on than a 76 so that way I have tire at the end. So if you go into your garage and you look at your tire, you can see from the 10 laps that I ran immediately following this, I have 94% on my right front, 97 on my right rear with a 253 and a 231. So 94, 97. So our goal is going to be to go back out. We're going to drop our speed down to no better than a 7. and we're going to see if we can save a little bit of tire. And it worked at Charlotte. I'm fairly confident it's going to work at Dover. In fact, I pretty much know it is, but it's just going to be a matter of if I can execute. So one other thing to do to make this easier for you, go into your options, and enable your delta bar. I set buttons on my steering wheel so that I can change what things I'm seeing, and that's going to be critical here for this next step. So let's go out here. You can see the last lap of my last run is showing, so I'm just going to tab over, and we're going to go to session best lap. So I know I wanted a 70, I think it was a 77. So I need to be about 0.23 slower on my delta bar when it comes up here. So we're going to go out, and you're going to see the delta bar pop up here once we get out of this section and we register in the zone. This Dover pit exit is really nice now that it's paved all the way down. All right, so now we have our delta bar popped up, right? So that's what we're going to use to kind of monitor how fast we're going. And we're going to go about 10 laps. So about lap 47 is where we're going to take a break. So you see our delta bars up there, and we want that to go negative. We're going to want this to be about here for this lap. Maybe a little bit more here first lap. Not a big deal. But we're just going to do everything that we can to try and keep this nice and steady. This is probably going to be an 8. We're going to flip this over now to session last lap. And we know we need to be about a half a tenth better than that lap. So we can be a little bit more aggressive with the throttle maybe. Just try and gain that pace. Probably be here in 3 and 4 where we can be, yeah, we left a lot of time on the table last time. So we'll get down to about a 760. That's right where we want to be. So now our goal is going to be to keep that even. We don't really want to go much faster than that. We want to just try and be as gentle as we can on the tires. And so it's going to be all about getting used to that lap time and getting comfortable with it. This was a terrible lap. 22.918. But it's just going to be all about being gentle on that right front to make that right front last. Now, I often get comments about guys saying, oh, I run the top, you know, I run this different line. That's fine. We can go run the top. But keep in mind, when you run the top here with iRacing, your steering wheel is going to be turned a lot longer, and you're going to be on throttle a lot longer, which is going to cause that tire to really burn. And you can see there when we're trying to be gentle, we're about 2.5 tenths slower up there on the top than what we are down on the bottom. 3 tenths slower that lap. So if you really want to save tire or waste time, go to the top. Otherwise, until your car really starts to fall off, run the bottom. Run the bottom with pride. We'll get you some lap time here. It's going to take a couple laps now since we went to that top to really get the speed back in the car. So we're going to be a little bit more aggressive on this lap. And then, like I said, this car has a brake bias adjuster, so if you start to feel like the car's getting really tight, even, 5, 6, 7 laps into the run, feel free to adjust it down. It's not going to hurt. I'm flipping over to my brake bias adjuster thing here. You can go down 3%. So a trick that you can use, right, we can go up or down 3%. So if we know that we want to have a full 6% to play with, what we can do is we can go into our garage, and we'll do this afterwards, and we'll adjust it down to, go down to like a 62%. And then when you get in the car, just turn it up to +3. And then you've got 6% to work down. Yeah, we're just being way too cautious on this run, I think. But we should have a lot of tire left here at the end of this one.
23.082.
This will be our last lap. We'll complete this lap and then we'll be good to go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go in just after 10 laps of just running a lot more conservatively. Let's go in. We're going to stop
23.205.
gently on the track. We don't want to spin or anything like that. Don't want to really lock anything up unless we have to. And now let's go into our garage and look at that. 96%, 97% on the rears. We've made them cooler. And we also have increased left side tires. And that's just after 10 laps. So 10 laps, we got what, 2% more right front tire, and we've only got 1% wear difference there. So here's where I was talking about. Adjust your brake bias down, probably down to 62, and then hit apply, and then go into your car, and you can just tab over. This would be like your F. I don't even know what F this would be. Probably like F8. But if you hit like F4 or F5, it'll take you to tires, and then you can just arrow over to where it has your brake bias, and then we would be at +3 to get us back to the 65. So start with what you think you want. I guarantee you're going to want to free it up as the run goes on. So you can kind of look at that number and you know if you've got to change your number in your garage, drop it down, whatever that might be, you'll be good to go there. But that's what I would do for ARCA at Dover. I really wouldn't look at running topside too much until times really start to fall off. You know, we ran that one, it was a 216, and then we went to the bottom immediately. It was a 035. So I think running bottom is going to be the key, especially early on, and then maybe as the cars go away, you can think about moving up to the top. But we're at about 16 minutes, so that's probably good for here. If you guys haven't already done so, head over to Team 53 website, sign up for our short track season pass. $53 gets you access to all the short track sets as well as my telemetry and some other goodies. Head over to our Facebook page, give us a like, and then join our Discord. We always love having new faces in there. We'll be doing a 500 subscriber giveaway here soon. So best of luck, and we will see you guys next week.